Okay, so this time let's create some rocks to be added onto this detail. So what I'll do is I'll just space bar once more, type in shapes. So I can click this. This is the shape node. Currently it is a square. Let's choose here paraboloid so we can distort it, and then let's set the tiling to 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's say that. That's the enough size. Okay, so let us now distort our shape. So to distort that, I'll just type in here and choose warp. So in this warp here, so it is telling me it needs an input. So let's say I will input this shape. Okay, and then it needs a grayscale, right, to distort this. So what I'll do is I'll use the same thing that I use here. I can use the Perlin spacebar, type in Perlin noise, because the Perlin is also a grayscale. I'll just click it and drag it here. Now as you can see, when I double click, so that is how the Perlin is distorting or warping the shape. So I can lessen the intensity of that, and I go here. For example, if I do that, and also if the intensity showing it clear, I can also lessen or increase the scale here. Let's say I want it within this value, and then I'll increase the intensity. Say that. I can adjust either in the warp or in the scale of our source gradient, but I will, for example, choose this. Now I have this blurry form, right? What I'll do next is I can select this, and then I can sharpen this by adding spacebar levels. So from here I can select that, input the levels, and then I can once more adjust the levels amount here, for example the whiteness of it, just to get the form, the shape that what we're after. Let's say just want it from there. Okay, so for example this is the shape that we're after. Let's sharpen it a little bit. I can sharpen that. Oops, sorry. There, for example, if you would like to sharpen that shape, let's just be reminded that those strong flat white areas are going to appear flat. So as much as possible, we add some softness into it. Next is we will add a blur. A blur is also a way of softening the edges and other portions of this result of the levels, with again a warp like setting that wherein we can reuse the Perlin. Spacebar, slope blur, grayscale, because this is just a grayscale. So I'll just plug in. There's the output. So there's the result. So far it's just the same. Now I'll drag in here the Perlin noise, and there we go. So it starts to get distorted like that. Let's lessen the intensity and see the result. Let's increase the samples for the detail. So from here you could actually finalize the shapes of the would-be stones. I can adjust the Perlin scale if I need to, for example like that. So it still has that effect on the object. This is a bit turned to be a bit sharp. So let's say in the warp, in the Perlin, I can still adjust a little. So for say, this is what I like. So the next thing is to have this scattered here, wherein we will be using another node. So for us to get one sample stone to become a pattern, what we will do is we will first space bar, and let's try getting the crop grayscale. So this is the crop grayscale node. What I will do is I can select the input here, as you can see, and then I can click the area, or I can click the output, and as you can see there it is. So here I can just adjust I can adjust by double clicking the area. I can reposition the crop tool, and then I can just click and fit it onto a certain portion that I would prefer. And as you can see, it is being cropped. So now this crop tool, or this crop node, only have this portion of the stone nodes. I can even click that and drag, so that I can have, for example, a different sample. I can even rotate it if necessary, but I won't. For now, I have that. So this is going to be my first stone sample for the patterns. Then I will just right click, and then I can duplicate that by pressing Ctrl D. So now I have a similar. I can double click the area, and then I can once more drag to a different stone, so that the cropping will take effect on that portion. Let's say I have that here. And there it is. I'll do another. Control D, drag it down here, and then here. Oops, double click the area so I can see it also. Excuse me. Okay, so now that we have created this stone set, for example, now that we have created this stone set, the next thing to do is have it placed here. We cannot see it yet within our 3D view, because as you can see, the node set of it is not even connected to our main node system. So what I will do is I will create, or I will get another node. I will type in shape, and then as you can see here, you have your shape splatter. So this is our shape splatter node, and there it is. You have your shape splatter node here. Now with the shape splatter node, as you can see, we have 3 stone patterns. But in the shape splatter, we only have 1. So what I'll do is I'll double click the shape splatter node, and then as you can see here, you have your pattern settings. Right now the pattern input is 1. That's why this is just appearing 1. What I'll do is I'll just click this, or drag it, set it to 3. So now 3 slots for the patterns appear, and each of these patterns now can be placed here. But before I do that, what I'll do is this. It is asking for a background height. So that means this is going to be the place, or the surface, where I can connect. For example, I will use this. This is the node for our current surface, and it is also a height because it's grayscale. I'll just click it and drag it here, because now that will become the background height, or the surface where these shapes are going to be splattered. So now for the shapes to appear here, I will start placing it in every pattern slot, dragging it here and then dragging it there. As you can see in the 2D view, they are already in the map, but as you can see here, we cannot still preview it because it is not yet connected on to our main base material node. So what we will do next is just like what we have done before. I will select this, hold shift, and then drag it to the front. There it is. Wait, trying it again. Shift, left click, oops, there it is, and then drag it here. There. So now we see our shapes being distributed into the scene, but the distribution is uniformal. On our next lesson, we will adjust the shape splatter settings so that we can randomly scatter our shapes. I'll see you on the next lesson.